Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Iron Mountain Hour. It is Sunday, August the 27th, 2023. My name is Cliff. I'm coming to you from Carter County, Tennessee. We normally do a live show tonight, but I did want to do a quick video since Tim wasn't going to be in studio, and I had some stuff going on myself. Some things I wanted to talk about over the last couple of weeks, and now seems as good a time as any. I wanted to put together a quick video on the Oliver Anthony tune, The Rich Men North of Richmond. I'm sure you've all heard it. It's making its way across the country, taking it by storm, you might say. It's become somewhat politically divisive, and I don't really understand that because, well, yeah, I do understand it because that's the way it's being used. But if you listen to the song, it shouldn't be a divisive song. It should be something we can all agree to, I think. So we'll go through the lyrics real quick and see what you think about it. Now, if you haven't heard the Hank Hill AI version, where they have Hank from King of the Hill sing the song, definitely check that out. It's a lot of fun. They also did one with Dale Gribble singing it, so you can find all different kinds of these things. But that's neither here nor there. But I think if you listen to it with a few different people singing it, like AI, it's you can say, oh, this is a catchy song, and it really, even with Hank Hill singing it, it has a lot of soul to it. So, well, the first thing that the song talks about is basically living in a town where there's no work. You've got a job that pays your bills, but you're pretty much stuck there. There's nothing else to do in the town. There's no way to save enough money to go somewhere else, and it talks about he blames it on the rich men north of Richmond. Well, Washington, D.C. is directly north of Richmond, but you could call it the rich men in Richmond, the rich men in City Hall, the rich men in the State House, the rich men in north of Richmond. There's all kinds of these rich men that are taking control of our political systems and our social systems and profiting on it, and they basically use it to extract wealth from other people. So we get on into the next verse, and he starts off saying, I wish politicians would look out for minors and not just minors on an island somewhere, obviously referring to Jeffrey Epstein. But he's also referring to the days of, if you, the mine safety fight has been a long struggle for the working man. And you go all the way back, harkens back to the days of the company store, where you might work for a mining outfit, but that's the only thing around. The whole town is basically owned by the mine. They pay you in a company script, which you can only spend at the company store. So you end up in a very similar situation to the one that Anthony describes in the Rich Men North of Richmond, whereas you're basically stuck in one place. There's nothing for you to do but to work all day and go home and drown your troubles away, because you might have enough money to be able to buy some booze at the end of the day, but anything of any significance is going to be too expensive for you to afford, and you're only going to be able to get it using company stores. So you can get into how those two situations are related. And then the third situation I think that this brings to mind that I think is also related is when he goes, and this is the one that's really been the point of contention for people, because they say, oh, well, I've heard it, it's almost like a script has come down from somewhere. Well, I liked the song, and it's almost word for word too. I liked the song. It sounded pretty good up until he started, making fun of poor people or punching down on poor people. And I look at it totally different. I look at it as, I don't know the man, but some of the lyrics of the song tell me he obviously has some sort of understanding of the political and social trap that we're in. So this may have been what he was going for. It may not, but this is the way I took it. There's folks in the street ain't got nothing to eat, and the obese are milking welfare. And then he says, if you're 5'3" and 300 pounds, taxes ought not to go to you bags of fudge rounds. And so people are sharing memes that are like a fudge round saying, come and take it, or don't tread on me with the fudge rounds. And I mean, honestly, that's kind of silly. Let's really look at what he said here. And then, but my thing is, they're calling dude a piece of shit for writing the song about this, and he obviously is not saying we shouldn't help people because he says he got folks in the street ain't got nothing to eat. What he's talking about is while you are out here, him the songwriter's out here busting his ass, having everything he makes taken for taxes, and just has enough to live on. His town has been sold out to corporate interests, assumedly, and there is nowhere else for him to go but to go home and drink. Well, while he's doing all this, he's noticing that there are people on the street that don't have anything to eat. They don't qualify for the program. For whatever reason, they're not eligible for it. But there are people who are willing to lie, who are willing to take advantage of the program. And there's also people who are basically poisoning themselves with low-cost sugary foods using their food stamp cards. Now, I'm assuming all y'all that have a problem with saying, well, the taxes shouldn't be buying bags of fun rounds. I'm sure all of y'all would have no problem giving a food stamp card to an alcoholic and allowing them to buy alcohol with it, right? Because it's pretty much the same thing. I mean, sugar can actually be a lot more destructive than alcohol in a lot of cases. So, it's not a one-for-one comparison, but One, but to look at it, it's not good for you. The person giving you that food stamp card and letting you go out and buy a bunch of sugar is not good for you. They're not happy. They don't like you. They don't love you. They don't care about you. What they're doing is they're extracting wealth from you through their friends, and I'll tell you how. See, the only, poor people on food stamps eating fudge rounds aren't the only people getting fat off this system. You got like large food corporations, PepsiCo, Frito-Lay comes to mind. Um, they always send somebody to Congress to make sure that people can buy their products on food stamps, that you can go in the gas station and buy a Red Bull or energy drink or soda or whatever with that food stamp card. And it's not because they like you. It's not the poor people's lobbyist that comes to town. That's Big Food's lobbyist. They don't want to lose their chunk of money. They've gotten used to it. And basically that's the way this is. All these systems get set up. People leech off of them. They get written into the law or the policy by a government representative or bureaucrat that they bribe. And then suddenly they're collecting money. They're siphoning money directly out of Oliver Anthony's pockets through that fudge round. And then not only that, like we talked about the company store in the town that Oliver Anthony's describing. It's a trap as that as well. I'll give you a quick example of that. I had a friend who, this was 15 years ago or so. She had 3 children and was a single mother and got moved into a government apartment. She had to pay $25 a month for it. That covered her lights, that covered her water. I think the only thing she had to pay was a cable bill. And she had TennCare, she had food stamps, she got a cash stipend from AFDC. But she decided she didn't want to stay there. She didn't want to live in there, and she didn't want to bring her children up in that environment. And she also had a sense of self-worth, so she wasn't just comfortable just sitting there collecting money when she was capable. So she goes out and gets a job immediately. She has to report it right away before she even gets a paycheck. And so the day that she gets the job, she's supposed to report it. She follows the rules, and she does. And they say, okay, great, congratulations. In 30 days, your rent is going to be $800. Well, this one got a job making $8 an hour. $8 an hour is like $320 a week. You take away taxes, you think $1,200 at best is what she's going to have for the month. But not only that, she hadn't even gotten a check yet, and she wouldn't get a check for another 2 weeks. And yet they still went ahead and raised her rent. You'd think if they wanted her to get out of there, they would give her 90 days or something to save some money or before her rent went up or something like that. But they don't do anything like that, and that's because it's designed to keep her in there. There are a lot of people that, they may not be sitting on their butts collecting a welfare check, but they are still collecting money out of the taxpayers' pockets by administrating these systems. And it's because they work for companies that administrate this system, whether it's food companies or housing companies, administrative companies that actually transfer the product, or the payments, deliver the products. There's all kinds of hands involved, all kinds of fingers in this pie. So it's all a big scheme. It's all a rich man's game. And because you complain about it doesn't mean you're making fun of the poor. It means that you're calling attention to a trap that we all get in, and they feel, and like I said, the song resonates with so many people because it's something that everybody has felt. Hey, that's not fair. This guy needs help. I'm working my ass off to the point that I almost need help, and this guy is not doing anything, and he gets to take the money that should go to that guy that really needs help. Again, we could talk about a bunch of different ways to distribute that money, to implement that system, but the way that we're doing it right now definitely benefits the ultra wealthy and the rich men north of Richmond more than it does the little men. So if you think I'm full of shit, if you agree with me, leave me a comment, share this around, see what anybody else that you talk to thinks, and let me know. We will see you Thursday night. We're going to get Dustin Baker, the constable from the west side of Elizabethton, into the studio. We're going to talk about the page Elizabeth and Carter County Priority Alert News and Alerts, and we're going to talk about citizen journalism and the end of the mainstream media. So I'd love to see you then. Give this video a like, share, and subscribe, and we'll see you on Thursday. Bye.